New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Welcome to Ministers Talking a weekly program where Rev BRZ and Rev Z and their guests chat about current affairs, world events, spiritual principles, and any old they want to talk about. Based on the New Thought philosophy and ancient wisdoms, Ministers Talking shares a visionary perspective of the evolving spiral called spiritual living. Join us each week as we explore the emerging paradigm of life on planet Earth and beyond.
And good morning, dear ones. Dr. Robert with you here on a Friday morning. It's 7 a.m. on the Mountain Time Zone, and this is Ministers Talking Shit. My dear brother and co-host, Reverend Elzia Sekou, is having a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, and he will be making his way back to the studio here shortly. We were having a great conversation before his computer decided to take a nap. I think. I'm not sure. We'll find out eventually. But welcome to Friday morning. I'm so grateful that you're here and so glad that you're with us. Now, as the program, as the video stated, this is the chat, the conversation, the opportunity we take each week to talk about whatever we want to talk about. And sometimes it's stuff I don't really want to talk about. Sometimes it's stuff he doesn't want to talk about, but we end up talking about him anyway. And more often than not, I will say, our conversations turn to what's happening in the political world, because I believe it was Plato that originally said to ignore the government, to ignore politics, is to be ruled by lesser men. And I think if we don't pay attention to what's going on, if we don't pay attention to how things are changing, and truthfully, who's doing what? I mean, I'm at a place where it's sharing with Z, it's almost like a point of absolute apathy at this point. Even though I'm fully aware of the damage that is being done to the social construct of America, even though I'm fully aware of the way individual people are being treated simply because of their being who they are. And then we got yahoos like Elon Musk. And Elon's role with the government at Doge, we originally was, it was always said it was only going to be 120 days or 180 days or whatever it is, and yada, yada, and da-da-da. And now he's leaving, and now he's saying that he's not going to put money, he's not going to spend money on politics anymore, and this and that and the other thing. I'm just at a point where I am unwilling to trust the man. I don't see how he can be trusted. And so here he is. He's going to leave politics. He's not going to, he's not going to participate anymore. He says he's not going to spend money anymore. He's not going to back any candidates. Well, Elon, that looks a lot to me like you're just cutting and running when things get hard. And you've pretty much destroyed what was Twitter. Not that I was a huge fan of that platform to begin with, but you've pretty much destroyed that platform. You're running Tesla into the ground. SpaceX did appear to have a successful launch on the 9th, but or their ninth SpaceX 9, I guess, had a successful launch. But it just strikes me that every one of the companies that this man is involved with is having some sort of regulatory oversight by the federal government. And so he wants to come in, he comes in and he makes, from my perspective, makes some sort of a dirty deal with Trump, because that was a hell of a lot of money that he spent. Elon spent a hell of a lot of money. And perhaps, you know, who knows what happened on the tech side to get Trump in office. And now he's just going to go back. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And for me, part of the frustration in all of this is how can we possibly know what the truth is beyond? How can we possibly know what the divine truth is that wants to be revealed through all of this? Right? We want to remember, folks, there is, right, the human truth and there is the divine truth. Now, the human truth cannot contradict. Human truth cannot contradict divine truth. And we seem to have countless examples of where people are trying to push a divine concept or a human concept as if it's divinely ordained. Good morning, Linda. And yes, Trump was willing to give Elon all the power necessary, right? We're not letting Trump off on any of this. But more and more, you know, we have an idea how much money Elon put into Trump's campaign. I'm wondering how much Elon put into Trump's back pocket. Because if it isn't making Trump money, he ain't doing it. And he ain't going to let you do it. So Trump had to make money in all this somewhere. It's his nature. It's his belief system. It's how he operates. He had to make money on this deal somewhere. If he's not making money on the deal somewhere, then I don't believe he's doing it. Here's our brother Reverend Z. How are you doing, sir?
Oh man, I don't know, man. You know, this
a little better
internet.
now.
Yeah, this internet stuff, you know. It's
Yep.
all fake. It's all fake.
Exactly. So I've just been here kind of rambling along around this, my discontent with Elon Musk and his shenanigans, and you know how much he may have paid to help win an election, but probably how much he's also put in Donald Trump's back pocket. And it feels like he is just now, from my perspective, any sense of trust or belief in the man is completely gone. Oh, you appear to have frozen up again there, Z. We might have to call the cable guy. Oh, now you're back.
I know. Goodness gracious. I need to get fiber. I'm giving up on cable.
There we go. So does Musk have any social clout left at all? Is he just burned everything?
Yeah. See, I don't know, man. It's not cooperating on the last day of May as we get ready to go into half the year almost.
I know my dear brother LZ, I know he is praying for that machine.
You there?
Yeah, we're here. We keep losing you though.
Yeah.
Let's all raise up.
I'm gonna switch to fiber. I'm gonna get rid of cable.
Every time you say I'm going to get rid of cable, you freeze up. All right. We're in prayer, folks. We know this is figuring itself out. Z's going to be with us. He's moving around there in the I know he's alive, and I know he's punching buttons trying to get that computer working. So but I'm going to keep coming back to this question of, has Elon just lost all credibility at this point? I don't know that I'm ever going to buy another product. I don't know that I ever would have to begin with, but like, how many people are pushing back against Tesla? How many people are pushing back against X? How many people are just pushing back against anything the man says? And I kind of woke up this morning and it sort of reminded me of the first Trump presidency. And I asked myself this question: is Elon just the Steve Bannon of the second presidency? Come in, cause a lot of shit, cause a lot of chaos, stir up a whole bunch of crap, and then suddenly is gone. And somehow Trump looks better for getting rid of him. I don't know.
Well, he was term limited anyway, so to speak. The way he was some kind of special envoy, if you will. He only had, I think, by law, although who knows what the law is now, because they're changing and challenging everything. You don't know what's what. But I think it was only supposed to be either 120 days, or I think 120 days was the max for the position that he had. Now they could, of course, extend that. I'm assuming they've done it. They've foiled everything else.
Right.
But you know, when you talk about Steve Bannon, you look at he leaves the day or a couple of days after or before. I forget. I know it was 2 or 3 days within that SpaceX blowing up the other day. You know, so rockets are blowing up. Tesla is going down. Public sentiment for him has changed. Trump is allowing South African farmers to come in this country, talking about genocide. I'm sure he made a point to that, being South African. And again, you know, I think part of the strategy of this whole thing is confusion. Let's create enough confusion. It's like sleight of hand magic, right? Sleight of hand magic works because they draw your attention somewhere else while they're doing the little trick over here. Yeah. And they're doing that in every department, in every area, in every way with this administration. And you know, once people wake up and go get the book and learn what the magic trick is, they're going to be pissed that they didn't see it sooner, because at that point it'll be too late.
Right.
You know, and they got this going back and forth on this tariff stuff, right? Yes, they're good. No, they're not. The Court of Appeals, this, that, and the other. But in the meantime, while all the confusion is going on, Americans are spending less money, right? More uncertainty. More people are out of jobs. I can't wait to see. I'm not sure when the numbers come out. They'll be coming out soon, next 7 to 10 days. I want to see all the GDPs and all of those consumer confidence numbers to come out and see what we're dealing with, because we're at a precipice right now, and we only 5 months into the deal.
Yeah, that is a big part of the problem with it, is the sleight of hand and the inability to know what's, again, we talk about this all the time, what's real, what's not real. I saw a meme the other day that accuses this whole airplane from Qatar thing.
Mm-hmm.
That says Trump was actually begging for the plane. Was begging Qatar for the plane because supposedly Qatar has now filed a claim with the federal government that basically says, we want the receipts. We want a piece of paper. We want official documentation that we did this, because we want the receipts that this was a coerced, a manipulated, whatever. And then 10 minutes later, I see another report that that now Trump's bitching because the plane's too big. Because hi. Trump laments size of much too big airplane gifted by Qatar. And what we're not talking about is this big screw bait of a budget bill. And what we're not talking about is how we're effectively canceling Pride Month, and how we are in a battle for the war of words, that of what we're allowed to say and what we're not saying.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you look at all of the things, let me put it this way: all of the things that they're putting people putting two people as a focal point, DEIB, climate change, immigration, these three things among many. I just throw one in there to make it a four square. The dismantling of the justice systems with all of the confusion.
Right.
This administration is going after people's hearts. I mean, people want justice, right? There's been so much injustice going on. They want justice. People understand, reasonable people understand, okay, yeah, given the situation, we have to balance our immigration policies of who we let in and who we don't let in and how we deal with that. Sure. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. The question is the antics and the shock and awe and all of those kinds of things that are being used to create chaos. Climate change. We got fires again in Canada, and they are beginning to put bad pollution in the air and for some American cities. So at some point, you would hope that people that have been elected to do this, and the people who've elected them, put pressure on them to say, look, stop the shenanigans, stop as we were talking earlier, the fake news, right? Trump brought up the fake news. Now you don't know what is not fake news. With deep AI and all of the stuff that can be done, you can create havoc, and ain't none of it true. So we have to be diligent in about how we begin to look at life, policies, people in office. And as we always say, somebody got to go to work. We got to do something. We can't just sit around and complain about it. We can't just sit around and say I don't believe it. Do something.
Right. Do something. That yeah. Pulling up our project 2025 tracker. Progress
Where
by
are we now?
1,331 days. Yeah, so that's how many until the end of the term. 1,331 days until the end of the term. Their overall progress is 98 out of 313 initiatives are completed, so 42%. They are they're done with the Commodities Future and Trading Commission. They're done with their objectives for the White House. They're 88% of their objectives for the White House. 75% of their objectives for the Department of State. You can dig into all these different departments and all their different initiatives. It's project2025.observer. And, it's the things like withdraw from the United Nations Human Rights Council. Withdraw funding for United Nations relief and work agencies. Prohibit the flying of divisive symbols such as the rainbow flag or the Black Matter flag at U.S. embassies. Okay, can we throw the thin blue line flag in there a little as well then? Can we add that as a divisive symbol? Like, I want that thrown in there. I think that flag's a divisive symbol. It's suspend all visas to people from countries that do not accept the return of immigrants that are ordered deported. In some ways, it feels like he's trying. Like now we're also talking about the student visas for students from China. That's the next piece that's going to get shut down. So we're in a battle with Harvard, most specifically around foreign students. We're now about to be in a battle with China as far as foreign students. Is it possible for America to just lock up the doors and say, nope, not going to answer?
I don't know if we have the guts or the stomach for it. I mean, this is Linda puts a good comment in here. They're working on the big old beautiful bill, and there's so much added. When they have these bills, they add so many little things at the end of it, right? Because they try to make concessions. Well, this is a budget bill, but if you give me, XYZ on the education piece, I'll ABC on the infrastructure piece or whatever. Something that has nothing to do with the budget bill, but because they need to pass it, it gets through, and then now we got all these little hidden gems, if you will, or quagmires. When I heard that bill was 1,000 pages, you might read 1,000 pages in a couple of few days, but you're not going to retain all that stuff if you got the rebuttal. And so that's how it's shocking awe, sleight of hand, and when none of that work, it's just straight out bully. We're gonna bully you on the new items, right? And at the same time, over here, they're doing rabble rousing, right? I saw an article where the U.S. is participating in war maneuvers over in Australia from the fear of China. And, they're saying, well, and again, it's speculation that China is going to invade Taiwan maybe by 2027, right? So they start creating these scenarios for things to happen. And then when they happen, they say, well, yeah, we told you they were going to happen.
Right.
But you created the environment, you've set up the props and everything, and forced everybody to that idea, to that answer. And at some point, we have to become independent observers, if you will, as best we can, to really look at what we're doing.
Right. Someday. 1,333 days. And we get to start rebuilding again. And for me, that's it feels like we have thrown ourselves into the breach simply for the glory of one man, and it's going to take a decade to repair the damage or more.
Yeah. I'd say more like a generation.
Well, there then is the good news. Because I don't have an awful lot of teenagers that visit this house, but we got more than a few, and many of them are now of voting age and just turning of voting age.
Yeah.
My eldest has not yet been old enough to vote in a presidential election. Well, no, that's not true. He was old enough to vote last time, so this last one. So, right, my youngest will be eligible to vote in the next one. Your kids have just kind of come of voting age in the last couple of cycles, right? And so there is hope for that future. And I trust there's going to be more people wearing blue hats than red hats when we look at the demographic of the 20-year-olds and younger. I trust.
And here, here in Colorado, we have this podcast called Purplish. And yes. Purplish is this podcast that talks about and we have to, I think, get to the idea that because a certain group labeled as blue or red or Democrat or Republican put forth ideas, we have to find the best of all of it, right? We need a purple party now, because there are some policies and some ideas and programs that are put forth by the Republican Party, not a personality, but the party, that are good policies. I mean, let's just be honest. And there are stuff that's put out by the Democrat that are not good policies. So why do I have to choose everything that one party does when it doesn't make sense, when it doesn't serve the whole? And we have to become more critical in our thinking, just to set up a stage, right? So they just had this big crypto dinner at the White House. Yesterday or the other day, they had this big crypto conference about what we're doing with crypto. Put that against the guy in New York who kidnaps a guy trying to get him to give his crypto wallet, right? And held him for a couple of weeks. Now I hear it's coming out that there may be some New York City police officers who was in on the deal. And I'm like, that when we turn the world's currency into something that you cannot see, something that's not tangible and can be manipulated at the drop of a hat, we're headed for total chaos. And if you remember, for those who saw the movie Total Recall, everything was done with credits. Oh, you don't have enough credits. Somebody's going to get in there and manipulate credits, if you will, Bitcoin, and we're going to be at the mercy of some bad stuff.
And here we are again, because the diversion, if you will, is that we're getting rid of the penny.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, the process of eliminating the U.S. penny has been going on for a while, and I think most Americans understand it costs more to create a penny than a penny is worth, and there's more than enough pennies already in the world if everybody just emptied out their change drawer, and that jug of pennies you got in the corner that ain't actually making you any money. All right. I've heard economists, that's lazy money. That jar of $50, lazy money. Put it into the market. Get yourself some penny stocks or something. Do something with it. But he makes it feel like he's doing something good by pushing the penny, by eliminating the penny. But what we don't look for is the behind the scenes move and what's happening with crypto.
Yes. And I'm just looking, and this is just a news flash that just threw me totally off. Not related, but related to the madness. So there was a kindergarten graduation in Arkansas that turned into a brawl. Now, what in the heck is going on at a kindergarten graduation that's going to cause a brawl? They don't give me the details, but I'm like, what?
Yeah.
We're talking about 5-year-olds. And we've gotten, this culture has been switched to me, my, no regard for others, no empathy, no sympathy, no sense of togetherness or oneness, that we are having brawls, which means there were multiple people, by definition of the word, fighting at a kindergarten during a graduation. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. We have zero tolerance right now for anything that's sensible or nonsensible. It doesn't matter. We have zero tolerance. And so we're sitting on powder keg regardless of what we're talking about, where we're located, what we're doing. And we have to look at these, we have to manage our intake of the news and social media, because you will be consumed if you don't. But even if you spend an inordinate amount of time, we have to be critical about what we're watching and taking in, and then we have to question it. Not in a defying kind of way, in a questioning of, I need to figure out the truth to this. And I don't, and I think now we're getting caught up in the gossip of it and the excitement of it and the drama of it, and and all that may be necessary, but if there's no critical thinking and plan and action, we can see that the Republican Party has a plan. This Project 2025, and they're ticking off stuff. They're ticking it off. They're dang near 50% done with the whole thing in 4 months. They're 50% done with implementing 40%. I'll come back. But they got, if they've done 40% in 4 months, I would easily suspect by the end of the year, they'll be at 55% in 1 year.
And what we haven't seen yet is Project 2029.
Yeah.
Right.
Not only believe they got one.
Not only do the Democrats need to get on that, because I'm sure the Heritage Foundation has a backup. They have what they want to do the next time when it comes around. Right. You've inspired me. See, I want to go create a hat. You can only buy it in purple, and it just says something to the effect of either make America love again, or make America one again, or make America make America sane again on a purple hat.
Yes.
And let's start the purple party. There's already a mattress out there for us. So because the point of whatever starts a fight in a hallway in a elementary school ain't worth it.
No.
Right? Personal opinion, do you know where your kindergarten diploma is? Do you know where the pictures of your kindergarten graduation are? There has become a point in America where it's like, graduating from kindergarten? Come on. Like that kids, none of those kids, you know what, those kids are going to remember that fight more than they're going to remember their graduation. And that's so I've never seen the whole point of the kindergarten graduation thing to begin with, but if we're going to do it, let's all just at least be civil about it, because the report, you brought it up, I saw a quick report. The report says in the video, you can hear the children screaming in the background to just stop. Right? That's, you just, there's your trauma for that kid. You just screwed up that 5-year-old for a while, because there's going to be something down the road that impedes that person from success, because they're holding on to some weird, crazy ass belief because their mom got beat up.
Right.
Over what? It can't be that,
Yeah. So, and you think about it in the back of their mind, they may never want to go to a graduation again, because their image of graduation will be a fight. And they said, I don't know if I'll go to that graduation, because I went to one time and boy, it was a mess. Right now. and then you juxtapose that whole idea with the new statement from the administration that we're going to take these billions of dollars that we were given to Harvard, and Harvard is just the beginning. They're going to go after others. If they can get through all the legal ramifications and whatever, they're going to get more schools at that. And he says he's going to transfer it, or he might just transfer it all to trade schools. And believe me, I am an advocate of a trade school program, because I participated in one when I was in high school.
Yep.
And I obtained a commercial cooking and baking license. However, I might know how to bake a cake, but I can't fix your heart after you ate too much of my cake. But we need doctors and cardiologists and the like to be around. So why does it have to? Here again, we're in this either or. It's either going to be this or that. Why can't it be both and?
Right. Exactly.
I don't get it.
We won't survive on just tradesmen and tradeswomen and people knowing trades. I agree with you 100%, right? It's necessary. We need people. We're never going to train a robot to fix your car. You're not going to train a robot to pull wire for your house. You're not going to be able to train a robot to inspect that house and make sure that the homeowner isn't getting ripped off by new home builders. And how do we create that balance? Let's go purple. We got to get red in the right. That's going to be key in. Perhaps that's the conversation nobody's ready to have. Perhaps that's the conversation that most people don't have the taste for, is we need to do away with the current two-party system and not just add a third party, but find a wholesale way to reimagine how we do government. And that sounds like a revolutionary war. I get it. The last time it took a revolutionary war for us to do this, that we might have to do it again. I don't know.
And history repeats itself. I'm watching a couple of programs. There's a program out called The West that's narrated by Kevin Costner. Forget what channel, Paramount maybe, I'm not sure. But it talks about the whole movement going west. And then I watched I didn't watch the whole thing, a program on Sitting Bull. And the whole part, there was a separate thing, but showing the movement of West and the whole idea of manifest destiny is what they used to come out there and run people off their land, took millions of acres of land and gave them 100,000s of acres of land and effectively killed several nations or tribes, if you will. But when you look at it, and what I didn't know, which brought this up very clearly, is that this was going on at the same time that the Civil War was going on. They were fighting the Lakota Nation, which was it's a couple of Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota. There were different tribes or groupings that band together, but the havoc that was being caused, and it was again another bait and switch. They told the natives, the indigenous people, we're going to put you on these reservations and we're going to give you this food, but all that money got diverted to the Civil War, so it never got there, right? Or definitely not in the quantity that they needed. And we have that same kind of pitting two people against another and ideas, and it is just worthy of us to wake up.
Yes, it is. We're about running out of time here, folks, so we're going to wrap up, but I do want to acknowledge Linda's making a call out to join the marches on Flag Day, June 14th. Yes, Saturday, June 14th is Flag Day. It is one of the, quote, patriotic holidays, and there is going to be a parade in Washington, D.C. It is going to be a military-style parade, which I still don't believe, but and I believe one of the best ways to let our voices be heard is to get out in the streets on June 14th. Mm-hmm. There's calendars, trackers, event coordinators all over the country. Just start posting it. Do a search for No Kings. KINGS, No Kings. And you're going to find something in your neighborhood, your city, your state for sure. On the 14th, a massive day of action. And people are going to be out in the streets. I'm trusting they're not going to be I'm trusting there's going to be more people in the streets than there will be in Washington, D.C. that day. And as much as the apathy may get to us, as much as the BS may seem too deep to traverse, don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give in.
Yep.
Stay true. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, as Public Enemy says, don't believe the hype.
Don't believe the hype. There we go. and with that, don't believe Fox News either. When they started attacking Joe Biden for not knowing that Joe might be sick because she's a doctor, it was like, really? You guys didn't even research the fact that she's not a medical doctor? She's got a doctorate of education. They are a little different. Trust me, I got a doctorate. You don't want me doing any health stuff on you. You don't want me diagnosing what's wrong with your body at that point. So they lost me. Yeah, they lost me a long time ago. But that one was just like hysterically stupid.
Yes.
All right, folks, we're out of here for today. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned to the New Thought Media Network throughout the day. We've got a full day of programming. Our morning prayer starts in just a half an hour, 8:15. 8:30, it's the morning sip with Rev Melissa. 9:30, it's Spanish language programming. Throughout the day, the Just One You, the Joy Show is at, High Vibe Hour is at 10 o'clock with Reverend Skip and Cynthia Breeze. Just One You at 1 o'clock with Barbara Jean. Divine Science Everywhere at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. This is a great show. Check that out, folks. And the Good News at 5 and the Fireside Chat at 6. It's a big day here, as it is every Friday. Until next time, we want to wish you peace and absolute richest blessings. Bye now.
And thanks for listening to this week's episode of Ministers Talking. We'll be back again next week with more commentary on current affairs, world events, and any other our ministers want to talk about. And if you found value here, please share our with your friends. Until next time, peace and blessings.